By the time I was 15, I was into cocaine and smoking crack cocaine, which led me down a crazy road, which didn't stop till I was 41 years old. At that point in my life, I was 41 years old, and I just had an epiphany, or it was the guilt from my mom never giving up on me, or I got tired of being in prison, brother. I got tired. I've spent over 15 Christmases locked up, 15 birthdays, 15 everything. Addiction is real. You know, a lot of people don't see it, but yeah, you got a choice. But when you're trapped in addiction, man, it's hard to get out of. It's hard to get out. I don't care, even starting out with pain pills will lead to stronger pain pills. Stronger pain pills leads to heroin. Heroin leads to death. Without my sobriety, I would not have God. Without my sobriety, I would not have.
Well, welcome back to the Better Than Best Academy podcast, where we help Christian leaders break free from limited beliefs, rediscover their true identity, and step boldly into their God-given purpose. I'm Coach Red, and my mission is to equip you and empower you to live with clarity, confidence, and make a lasting kingdom impact. Today's guest is Jason Head. As a 9-time convicted felon who has spent over 15 years in Texas prisons, Jason's story is from a hardcore drug addict to a successful business owner. It exemplifies resilience and redemption. In his book, From Prison to Periwinkles, he chronicles this transformational path, serving as a beacon of hope for those seeking to overcome their past mistakes. I'm excited to have our conversation today, Jason, and it's funny because as I look at when this episode will post, you'll be the third Jason of 3 Jasons I've interviewed in a row here.
Wow.
It's almost like the month of Jasons. I feel like the horror movie. Every one of the Jasons I've talked to has had a unique story, and you're no different. You've written this book called From Prison to Periwinkles, and I'm sure it's inspiring so many lives. If you had to pick which is a harder challenge for you, is it a prison warden with an attitude or a stubborn patch of periwinkles that just won't bloom? Which would you choose?
I get there. Yeah, for real, man. I won't give on Mother Nature, man, but I'd much rather be out here rolling the dice on some periwinkles
For
than
sure.
dealing with a tough warder. Oof.
That's awesome. I love to break the ice with something funny like that, dude,
Yeah.
to get us started on a more lighthearted note. But we've had a few short conversations, Jason. So I'd love to hear a little bit more. And if you could share a little bit more about you and your story with my audience, I love to ask this question next. Who is Jason Head?
Well, Jason Head, I'm a 50-year-old guy that's battled with addiction his whole life. From the time I was 14, 15 years old, I started experimenting with drugs, marijuana. By the time I was 15, I was into cocaine and smoking crack cocaine, which led me down a crazy road, which didn't stop till I was 41 years old. At about 15, 16 years old, I was in and out of juveniles, psychiatric hospitals, and youth villages. I had 13 felonies on my juvenile record, all from theft, which was fueling my crack cocaine habit. I battled with it, man. I always had good intentions when I got out of juvenile, or I moved to my dad's, or I moved to different locations to try to get away from the trouble, but it always followed me because I always had that addiction. But one thing that I've learned is I'm not a good drug addict. Started going to prison. I think the first time I went, I was 23 years old. From the year 2000 to 2018, I spent 15 years, 8 months in there. I was in and out, and every time got a little bit longer, but I was there 5 times. So I got 5 TBC numbers. And man, I lived a life of crime. My addiction was fueling that, you know. When you get hooked on crack, cocaine, meth, or heroin, which I did all three, Xanax, all that, and I never had a job. So I was out in the streets hustling and doing stupid stuff fueled by my addiction. The last time I went down was for robbery, robbing a drug house. 4 months before that, I had robbed another drug house and got shot 5 times, 4 times with a 40 and once with a 12 gauge. And first two bullets hit me in the chest and collapsed my lungs and went out my back. And the 5 times I got hit with a 40 caliber, it went in and out of my body. So, like, I died twice on the way to the hospital, and God let me make it through that. And
Huh.
lo and behold, 3 months later, I was robbing another one. And it went down like something off of the Three Stooges or something. I think that was God, brother. I think that was God telling me, man, I'm going to set you down, for a little bit until you get your mind right. And that's exactly what happened. This last time I went down, I did 6.5 years on 10 for robbery. I was still getting high in there, brother. My addiction followed me in there, and I got caught with drugs in Ferguson unit, which is the maximum security unit down in Beaumont. They shipped me from Ferguson to Styles unit in Beaumont, Texas. I was still getting high in there, still on the disciplinary part of the wing. That unit was flooded with dope, and it was Christmas Eve, and I was walking around my cell, high on meth and K2 synthetic marijuana. I was thinking to myself, what am I doing? What am I doing? At that point in my life, I was 41 years old, and I just had a epiphany, or I don't know what you call it, or it was the guilt from my mom never giving up on me, or I got tired of being in prison, brother. I got tired, all of it, to combination of my mom never giving up on me and just wanting me to live right. I had a bunch of friends in there doing life sentences, capital life sentences without parole that I've become friends with. And they were like, man, I'd give anything to be in your shoes, and you're in here still messing up. You're messing up. Probably 99% of them guys in there doing capital life sentences were in there for murder or committing a murder during a robbery. Some of them were good dudes, bro. There were some guys down there that just made one bad decision under the influence of a controlling substance, namely LSD or crack or heroin, just doing desperate stuff, and it went wrong, and they never get another chance. I'll never forget this guy named Big G. He had murdered two guys under the influence of Sherm, LSD. He used to carry this Gideon Bible in his back pocket. He's been locked up since he was 17 years old. We used to cook together. He lived in the cell next to me, and we used to read the Lonesome Dove series and switch out books and cook together. I guess it was a God thing too.
Sure.
So it was Christmas Eve, and I'm walking around the cell, and I want some more dope. And the next drop ain't coming until after New Year's, after Christmas and New Year's, because the guards were bringing it in. And I was just like, man, I'm tired, man. What am I doing? I've spent over 15 Christmases locked up, 15 birthdays, 15 everything, and then you count Easters and Halloweens and everything. You take it for granted because you get so caught up in everything. And I was like, you know what, man? I think I got a problem here. I had 9 felonies and 41 misdemeanors, and I just been shot. My life has been straight destruction behind drugs. I was like, tomorrow's Christmas Day. I just felt it in my heart, bro. I was like, tomorrow's Christmas Day. I'm fixing to give myself the best Christmas present ever, and that's my sobriety. And that's what I did on December 25th, 2015. From that point on, I felt the weight lift off my shoulders. Everybody around me was still getting high. The devil was coming at me harder because they put me in cells with individuals. You had some that cared about their life, and then you had some that didn't care about life. They didn't care. That was their home. They were getting high. They were going to cook some hooch. And they put me in the cell with this one guy, man. He had drugs everywhere. He had homemade hooch in there. He didn't care. And this was a big old dude. I'm 6'3", 255, and I can take care of myself. But there's some guys in there that don't care, and they got shanks and everything else. And I was like, man, God, please help me right here. But anyway, I made it out of medium custody and made it back into the general population. And I started signing up for everything that had to do with the church house. I was done, man. I'm hard, and I was scared that I was going to relapse, even in there, because it's there,
Yeah.
I signed up for everything, and there was a program in there called St. Kobe Prison Ministry. There was a gentleman, older gentleman that came in there, dedicated their time to help inmates. One of them was Judge Torres. He's the one that founded Jason's Deli. He owned 263 of them in 29 states when he passed away. He recently passed away of esophagus cancer.
Oh, man.
But, man, there was a lot of good guys in there, man. They could have been doing anything and they wanted, and they came in there to dedicate their time to us. At that particular unit, 1 in every 3 inmates was HIV positive.
Man.
I don't personally have HIV, but I don't, when you live a promiscuous lifestyle of drugs and all that, it was just crazy, man. I didn't judge anybody. Who am I to judge? I'll never forget going to the St. Kobe Prison Ministry in there and listening to how they made us feel, first off. And then they started the praise and worship, and that was the first time I ever heard how great is our God and good Father. Man, I cried, brother. I'll never forget it, man. Tears going down my eyes because I just felt like it was.
Hey, Better Than Best Academy fam. Wanted to take a quick break from this conversation. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. But first thing I want to talk about is, did you know that 98% of the people that watch this podcast on YouTube aren't subscribed. So there's a high chance that you right now are watching this and not subscribed yet. So first, I want to say thank you so much for watching. And two, I want to say go ahead and smash that subscribe button so that you can be the first to be notified when I drop more valuable content like this on YouTube. Now let's get back into today's episode.
Over. Even though I didn't get out of prison until 3 years later. Before that, I was writing parole, and my mom hired a parole attorney for me. There actually wasn't no robbery committed. There wasn't a gun found, which I had both. I shot these people's front door with a 12 gauge. The bullets bounced off and hit my co-defendant in the face. It was just like something off the Three Stooges. And I've done some elaborate jacking and all that, which put me in position to get shot. I got a deformed hand and, gunshot. I got 9 enter and exit holes on me, plus 12 gauge right there.
Yeah.
And I put myself in that position, brother. I'm not a victim by no means. I knew something changed in me, man. My mom and dad, I used to talk to them on the phone, and I would tell them, man, I wrote parole this time. I said, listen, I need help. By then I got two-year set-offs. So in other words, I came up for parole, I got a 2-year set-off. I came up for parole 2 years later, I got another 2-year set-off. So this next time I come up for parole, I said, you know what, man, I'm just going to be honest. I said, man, everything that you ever see on that paper in front of you, robbery, kidnapping, aggravated assault, robbery, fueled by my drug addiction. I even got caught with drugs in here. I said, man, I need help. I never asked for it, and I never been offered it. But everything you see on paper is a direct, from drug addiction. And they gave it to me, man. And they gave me a FI5. They gave me parole. And I went to a drug program down there in Hondo, Texas. You're still in prison, and I actually applied myself. Instead of just trying to fake it, you make my way through it. I applied myself, and I came to they got 3 different buildings with 280 inmates in each building. And I was over the 280 inmates as far they call it the house. Right? And you got to work your way up. And not a lot of people could do that, being over a bunch of different color races and gangs and all that. A lot of people just trying to fake it until they make it and get out, But I was trying to be cool with it. And it taught me, I was like, man, you know what? It just showed me some things about myself, and some of my friends that were in there that came from different units, they were like, man, who is this guy? But I got out February 15th of 2018, and I made parole about a year and a half before I ever got out.
Wow.
And I told my mom and dad, I said, I'm going to start a landscaping company. They were all for it, but they were like, yeah, we heard this before,
Yeah.
I got out February of 2018, and the day after, they gave me a GPS monitor, which I couldn't start my business for 15 months, so I didn't start my business till a year and a half later. I stayed in my mom's house with a GPS monitor on. I tried to get a job everywhere.
Yeah.
Planet Fitness and Rockwall, the Walmart distribution, just everywhere. But I couldn't get a job, man, but it wasn't God's plan. So April 24th, 2019, my parole officer called me and said, you up? Come on in. I'm going to take the monitor off it.
Come.
This day I started Heads Up Landscaping. My name is Jason Head. I asked my dad, I was like, man, what's your call? He's like, Heads Up. I was like, all right, Heads Up Landscaping. I started with a lawnmower that my wife bought me, my fiance, just a push mower.
Yeah.
I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I knew I was going to start my business, and my mom and dad helped me with a truck. If you would have told me then, or even back in prison, that I'd be where I'm at now, I never would have believed it. It's also what you put into it. You're going to get out of life what you put into it. As long as you put yourself in position and put good into the universe, I believe God opens doors for you. And that's exactly what happened.
So good.
It's a trip, man. Sometimes I still have bad dreams every night. I don't know what it is. And I wake up to my house, I'm overlooking Lake Ray Hubbard. I'm looking at it right now. I feel blessed, bro. It's like, how did this happen? But it's happening, and it's been good. I told myself when I was in there, I read a lot of books. I read a lot of Navy SEAL books. I read all kinds of books, And I told myself, if I ever get out, I want to write a book. I hired a team to help me with it because I'm left-handed. My left hand's deformed, so I type like a turtle. So I had a ghostwriter. And I hired a team to do it. I feel like they did a good job. I don't really push the book as much because I'm busy with my business, but I do go and speak. I have people reach out to me all the time, like, "Hey, I'm such and such. I'm in Dallas County Jail, or I was in there, and your book came around, and That's a good feeling, brother. That's what I want people to see, that there's hope beyond addiction. If you ever get on my Facebook page, the first thing you're gonna see is saying up the dope, and that's what I represent till I die, bro. Because for so long, I know a lot of people now that's never really been in that life.
Mhm.
I'm always constantly talking about it because it was a large part of my life from the time I mean, 14 to 41 years old. That's a long time. You know, you spend that amount of time in prison, over 15 years. Like, we'll talk about that too. You know what I'm talking about? Because that was a whole nother world in there. I will always talk about it. I will always represent it. And I will always try to encourage people that you can do anything you put your mind to.
Definitely. First, thank you for sharing that story. I know that your story is impacting so many lives. And I think it's great that you use the resources to get the team to make the book, to make it happen, to package it in a way where you can speak to even more people's lives. I can't imagine from 9-time convicted felon to successful entrepreneur. You touched on it a little bit, but how do you balance being transparent about your past while stepping into the identity of who you are now today?
I try to stay humble, man, because for me, like I've always, when I was a kid, I always liked cars and, you know, and I just never, I robbed myself of having all that stuff because I gave all my money to drugs. So when I got out of prison this time and I started having a little money and stuff, I try to use what I've got as motivation, not
Yeah.
bragging. Well, just the other day, I posted all my cars that I've had over the last 4 years. I've loved, but at the same time, I'll also make it clear that I lost a lot of money buying cars. Just even now, right before I got the, was talking to you, I was looking at another one. I was like, man, don't do it. It's such a bad investment. You know, I've always, like I said, when I got out, I always wanted Corvettes, and I had two Corvettes all decked out. I had a Lamborghini. I had brand new AMG GT 63 Mercedes with big twin turbos and all this stuff, like
Yeah.
really expensive motorcycles and stuff like that. But I try to use it as motivation because sometimes it feels like, and even I'll put a story on, I'll take it off because I feel like I'm bragging. But I'm not bragging, but I don't want people to see me in that light.
Yeah.
But I try to make posts with it. I just try to stay humble, brother, because I also know that if I ever get arrogant or cocky and think that I'm better than anybody, then I know God will slap me in my face and take it all away. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And not necessarily y'all, but something, God forbid, something happened, but I try to put good into the universe and I try to help people. I'm blessed, man. Like I'm an extremely good tipper. I feel blessed and I'm able to bless other people. I hope that answered your question. The main thing for me is just trying to stay humble and put good into the universe. You treat people right, you bust your butt, you do everything you're supposed to do, and good things are going to happen. They might not happen like that. Then all of a sudden one day the door opens and you're like, what just happened? That's what I feel like happened to me. From prison to periwinkles. Periwinkles is the flower. It just happens to be my mom's favorite flower.
Yeah.
So one
I
of the
was curious
reasons
where the title came from.
periwinkles, it's called as a flower. It's an annual flower. It happens to be one of my mom's favorite flowers.
Cool.
Now, the version I am now is the best version. I listen to it like, man, what is that? Prison to periwinkles is from hard, doing a hard time to a pretty flower. My mom, she's like, no, that's a good name. Go with it. So I dedicate that book to her because she never gave up on me, brother. Like, what I mean? There's times, she, come and got me out of the middle of South Dallas and crack houses and never gave up on me in prison. One of my best rewards was showing her that I turned my life around. Of course, I bought her some that stuff too, but every Mother's Day I put periwinkles around her whole house.
That's awesome. Sounds like you have such a great relationship with your mom. I love to hear that. And it's such a beautiful illustration of your life, like you said. The prison, you went from some of the hardest times to being that flower, her favorite flower. And I'm curious, spending so much time in prison to being successful in business, what are some of the lessons from your time behind bars that surprisingly prepared you for being an entrepreneur?
I think one of the main factors of my drive is I never want to go back.
Yeah.
I never want to go back. And that's, there was days when I first started my business, man. I was by myself. I was 46 years old pushing a lawnmower, you know, and there's days I wanted to quit, man. That was my name on the side of the truck. I had something to prove to myself and to my family because there was a lot, even some of my immediate family. I'm pretty sure thought that I would end up going back. I gave them every reason to think that,
Sure.
just to be, getting out there, just hustle, man.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of people, you ain't got to know everything when you start a business. That's one of the reasons I started landscaping. I knew how to push a lawnmower, but I took it to another level when
Sure.
I got off into landscape design and I started designing my stuff. I've created, I think, certain type of audience that likes that type stuff. And I'm passionate about it. I love landscape, man. As much as I love fixing up cars, I love changing the way people feel about their house. And landscape will do that. I didn't know what I was getting into. It
Right.
was God's plan. I'm so glad that I didn't get that job at Planet Fitness, being a third shift custodian. I'm so glad I didn't get the job at Walmart warehouse, distribution warehouse, driving a forklift. I believe doors shut in my face, so this door would open. And so, I'm sorry, this lady's
Good.
texting me about a job right now.
Uh,
But it's been good, man. I feel blessed, man. Bottom line is, man, you put good into the universe and you
Yeah.
put a lot of hard work behind something, eventually something's gonna give. That door's gonna open. And I'm on year number 5.5 right now. I've learned a lot, brother. I never lived a legit life. I never really filed taxes before.
Yeah.
Now it's just like it's been crazy, man. I just did my taxes yesterday. It's crazy looking at the numbers. I never figured
Sure.
people would trust me with this amount of money, but it's been a good ride.
That's awesome. And what a great picture that is in second chances, you know? It's
Yeah.
like that idea of, man, God just wasn't done with you. That's such a beautiful thing to look at it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
And
In perfect timing, brother. I had to go through all that heartache and pain. Now I see other youngsters that are going through it these days. I got some of my own family, my nephew and whatnot. They're going through some things, and I wish I could just tell them, man, don't waste your time, bro. I wish I would have listened to my dad a long time ago,
right.
but I was stubborn and I was hard headed, and most of all, that addiction had me. Addiction is real. You got a choice, but when you're trapped in addiction, it's hard to get out of. It's hard to get out. For me, I don't drink because I don't anything to do with drugs or alcohol. I don't want nothing to. It's not a choice for me.
Yeah.
I can't even think about taking a sip of just a Coors Light.
Mhm.
You know, come on, like it scares me because I know the result. I'm gonna jails, the institutions are
Yeah.
there, and for me, I'll die. You know, come on, and
Mhm.
man, I'm living a life that I never dreamed of, and I wake up and I swear to you, I take 2 or 3 videos every morning, man. When it's a nice day and the sun's coming up on the other side of the lake, man, I watch it. It's like I feel blessed. I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. That's a trigger.
Man, that's so good. With that thought, I feel like you have a unique perspective now, living life like you do. Like I feel like you probably have such more gratitude than someone else that may take it for granted. I'm curious, as you mentioned, there are younger people making not necessarily the right choices right now. If you could speak to a younger you right now, what would that message be?
Man, listen, open your ears and learn from somebody that's already been there. Save yourself the trouble. I wish I would have listened to my dad. If I would have started my business or started doing right at the age of 21, there ain't no telling where I'd be. I believe God's plan is exactly what happened. But I had to go through all that heartache and pain. But to me, talking to the younger version of me or anybody that's a younger version, I tell them, man, don't waste your time, brother. Do not waste your time. Say no to dope. Stay away from drugs and alcohol. Get a job, work, and just live the right life. I'm very grateful for my life today. And gratitude, one thing that I learned from Joseph Torres and Oprah Winfrey said it, make you a gratitude list. It don't matter even if you're in a maximum security prison, or you're living in a $200,000 house or apartment or whatever, you got to practice gratitude,
Yeah.
right? Even though I catch myself because I'm an addict and I'm always wanting more. The minute you're grateful for what you got right now, you'll instantly be happier. Come on.
Yeah.
Materialistic things does not buy you happiness.
Come on.
Materialistic things does not buy you happiness. It's good. Money can buy you a sense of freedom if you use it right. But anyways, what even a younger version, man, gratitude in comparison, always look, because it's easy to get lost on Instagram, Facebook, looking at all this, these people that are just balling out of control and, you know, like money don't bring you happiness. You know, to my, I made a post the other day in the pursuit of happiness because of, to me, I feel like there's more to life than just working and coming home. I just built a pool and I've done a lot of stuff to this house and everything. That don't get me wrong, I'm proud of that. I'm grateful for it. But there's more to life, right?
So
I used to implement one of the first things I did when I was in prison back a long time ago. Every morning I wake up, I do 300 push-ups, and I read a page of the Bible. And I'm so ADD. A lot of the times I read that Bible, I couldn't tell you what it said,
right.
tomorrow, but it was just putting forth the effort to start your day with a task completed, right? And I got that off of a Navy SEAL book. But it's true. So for me, I told Christine, my fiance, I was like, I've got to do something more because the stress and, you know, I work. And even when I'm on the phone with you right now, my phone's blowing up from my Facebook ads. But thank you, Father God. Don't take it
Yes.
away. But there's more to life
Yeah.
than just work. For the last 5.5 years, my sole goal was to be successful and prove to everybody and myself that I can do this. But I need to add the spiritual part in me,
For sure.
right? And working out again. Because that was the number one thing I did every morning, gave me peace while I was in that chaotic atmosphere down there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so good, man. And I love that you touched on that idea of it's bigger than just monetary success. I've talked to plenty of people in successful business situations, and they've came to the realization that more things don't equal more joy or more
Mhm.
happiness. You think it is because, like you said, if you get on the social medias and you get into that comparison trap of seeing people balling out,
Mhm.
probably balling out on credit, if we're honest.
Feeling,
Or the people flexing shouldn't be.
yeah.
But I say all that to say is that it's beautiful that you're finding that there's this idea of legacy. And I love thinking of that idea of legacy and what's really most important in our life. And I think you said it greatly when you said it's that spiritual side. It's that relationship with God that there's such more to life than just us. And
Yeah.
it's that idea of relationship with God and also who else can you serve and help? Because and I'm sure you feel that, and it's more than just landscaping and having a successful business for you. It's helping people
Yep.
love their home again or love their environment. And even making an elaborate landscape to the outside may look something that's monetary or flashy, but it's really more than that. It's creating a home. When you feel like you have a home and you have something to be proud of and you have something to pass along, it's such a great concept to think of. Your story is so powerful and so
Thank you, brother.
inspiring. And I think it also challenges people to reflect on their own lives, and I think that that's good. What's one hard truth that you like every listener or watcher to confront after hearing your journey?
One heart tree. Man, I guess one of them will be you put good into the universe and good comes back to you.
Yeah.
One of the hardest truths that I had to learn is I don't know everything, right?
That's so good.
And I will continue to learn till the day I die, right? And so, and I'm a work in process. The minute you think you know everything, you're gonna fall on your face because I want to learn. Listen to somebody that's already been there and done that.
Yeah.
You can take what they say and put your own twist on it. I try to learn from older people. Is say no to dope. Joke will ruin your life. I've seen it too many times. I've seen cheerleaders, Northwest Key High School, varsity cheerleaders at the end of the year, they're prostitutes. I've seen football stars get life sentences. I've seen it all, brother. You know, and behind drug addiction. Prison is full of addicts.
Yeah.
Because they lost control of their life. In the NA, there's a saying, there's only three places: jails, institutions, or death.
Yeah.
Jails, institutions, or death. A friend of mine, I only know him through social media. I never met him in person. Reached out to me the other day, and his daughter is a drug addict, right? And she was in a rehab. And this is a young lady that went to Texas Tech University, started partying and got out of control. She actually read my book. I talked to her the other day. Drugs will, I don't care, even starting out with pain pills will lead to stronger pain pills. Stronger pain pills leads to heroin. Heroin leads to death, and fentanyl and all that stuff. So my big thing, brother, is staying up the dope. And I got this Christmas day that just passed. I got 9 years clean, and I never thought, but I always tell people the number one common denominator and everything that's happened in my life is my sobriety. Because without my sobriety, I would not have God. Without my sobriety, I would not have moral values, right? Without my sobriety, I can't love because I'm numb, right? I wouldn't have empathy for others. That's why sobriety and saying no to dope is such a big thing for me. And a lot of people that I associate with these days will never realize, they might have a clue, but like my wife, she never seen that side of everything. But now she does. And now because I see people, man, like I pulled up at Bell Line 30 the other day, two people holding a sign, man. This guy was all tatted up, tats on his face. I was like, man, you've been down before? And the light turned and I'm talking to him. Hey, brother, I've been there, man. The only difference between me and them is I went and robbed dope houses or I go into Home Depot and take off running with a chainsaw or something. It didn't have no limits, man. It didn't have no limits. Drug addiction in prison was the worst thing that happened to me, but prison also saved my life because it set me down for a long enough period of time that my head was straight. I would go in there, I try to read, work on my vocabulary because even now, I was like, you know what I'm saying, fool? And all this and that. And it's just, I would try to not become that person, but when you've been that person for so long, it's kind of stuck with you. But it's weird now, I deal with people, man, that are, never seen that part of life. They respect my story, brother. I'm talking about like most 9 times out of 10, my customers know my story. And I'm not ashamed to say it. And you know what? If they don't use me because of that, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I provide a good service. I don't rip anybody off. I never ask for any money up front. But now I've got that reputation. It's a lot easier for me to sell a job today because they're like, oh, we've seen your work. You ain't got to tell us. I'm like, come on with it.
That's
It's been a
awesome.
good ride, brother. These last 6 years or since, 2019, it's been a good ride.
Definitely.
Yeah. So April 24th will be 6 years I've been in business.
For sure.
Yeah. And anybody out there that's interested in starting a business or landscape business or any kind of business, you don't have to know everything there is to know. You just got to have the want and the need to do it and treat people right and give them what they want. And you'll learn along the way.
Yeah, and I love that quote. It's not about the resources you have; it's about your resourcefulness. And I think that, and that's probably something you probably learned in prison in a degree, because
Yeah.
before we're talking, you set up your own tripod and you made it work with what you.
Yeah.
A lot of times, that's something that's caught, not taught. You can't just teach somebody be resourceful. And I think a lot of people that carry that entrepreneurial spirit carry that resourcefulness, and it's a strength. Sometimes it's a curse because, like you mentioned earlier, it's easy to get into a space to think we know it all. And the moment we think we know it all, like you said, we know nothing. One thing that's helped me along my journey is getting surrounded by the right people, like the mentors you mentioned. I think that that's so huge, getting around the right community, because that goes both ways. If you look at the people that take a turn for the worse, it probably was the community they were surrounding themselves, the friends, the company they were keeping. And for those, yeah, those that are
That's a
watching,
big, huge part.
the fact of, if you have a desire to start something, you don't have to know it all. You just have to get started. And at the heart of it, you have to work hard, provide a good service, do great work, and you'll learn along the way.
Be honest with everybody.
Oh yeah,
Just be
honesty
real.
is so
Because
important.
but every time I've tried to, it'll always backfire. So the best thing, even if you don't know everything you're doing, just be real. One of my favorite quotes to my customers is, can I be honest with you? People love that. I don't want to be BS'd by anybody. If I don't know what I'm doing, let me figure this out. I got you. You don't even have to pay me till I'm done. But 9 times out of 10, it turns out better than they expected. But yeah, just be real and be honest, man. Be real with people, treat people the way you would want to be treated, and bust your butt.
Well, that's good. Man, as we close out our show, I want to ask you one more question. What's next? What's next for Jason?
Well, from this point on, I'm 50 years old. I started 6 years ago. In the beginning, I wasted so much money on vehicles. I lost probably over 350,000 just buying and selling vehicles and stuff like that. And so I've learned from that. No more depreciating vehicles. Now, for me, it's just like I don't have medical insurance or anything like that, I can make these next 10 years count. So for me, it's gonna be real estate. I started a roofing company kind of for my wife to help her out. She lost her job as a mortgage underwriter, and we're still doing roofs, but not alive. I'm on the pursuit of happiness. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy, but every day I want to try to make my life more stressful. And it's every decision I make, whether it's financial or anything, is just going to benefit me in the future. You know, like I still got that wild side to me. Like I was just looking at a 2025 Porsche 911 Turbo S. I do not need that. It's going to depreciate 40,000. It's going to be a real boat.
Right.
If I'm going to do something, it's got to be into a house or real estate. But yeah, man, between that and working out and praying, talking to God, and just putting good into the universe, those are things that are a necessity for me. 45 and moving forward. Because I've been going so fast and so hard for the last 6 years that I got burnt out a little bit.
Yeah.
Therefore, I told myself there's more to life than just work. Literally watch like 15 minutes or 30 minutes of whatever series we're watching and then going to sleep and starting it all over. And my phone is still steadily blowing up till 9:30 and I'm always responding. There's never been a cutoff. So there needs to be more time for family, because family and time, man, as I watch my parents get older and, time is the most precious commodity that we got.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that can't be bought. You got to make use of your time. Yeah. So you never know. Tomorrow's not promised to none of us, man. So we got to live like every day is our last one, and yeah, just, helping others. One thing that I figured out by helping other people, just like you're doing, man, and reaching out. Just like I feel better after what we've done here, with the conversation, the podcast. When you help others, man, that, when they're in a position like I can help people a little here, there, financially, whatever, it makes me feel good. And whatever the case may be. It ain't got to be financially, just if you listen to that voice, listen to that Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
compliment people, man, that you might think are having a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
It goes a long way. Goes a long way.
Serving and helping people.
Putting good and doing good will actually make you feel good. That's the way God designed us. And I'm telling you, just like the older guys that used to come into the prison, all of them were really financially set, brother. They were all financially set, but what were they doing? They were serving others. Servant leadership is what he said, right?
Yep.
Servant leadership.
Come on.
Yeah.
Dude, so good. I feel like we could continue our conversation. We might have to link up for a part 2 or something, or
Now for sure, brother.
just stay in touch. But before we wrap up, Jason, I always like to give my guests the opportunity to share how my listeners or viewers can find you, connect with you, whether it's your landscaping or your book. So yeah, where can they find you?
Facebook, because I just deleted my Instagram because I'm always looking at cars and stuff. And TikTok too, I deleted that. So Facebook, my name is Jason Head. Like, yeah, Jason Head. And the name of my company is Heads Up Landscaping. So it's HEADZ.
Z.
Yeah. And the reason I did it is because there was like 2 or 3 other Heads Up Landscaping in the country.
For sure.
Or even give me a call at 214-957-8948.
You have a website too, right?
I do have a website it's jasonhead.org.
Yeah.
jasonhead.org. A while back, I had everything going. I'm trying to simplify my life.
For sure.
Also, you can check out the book. It's on Amazon, From Prison to Periwinkles. It's a short read, but I think it's a good read. And again, I believe it gives people hope, man. Because if I could turn my life around, and it's never too late. I made a post this morning, on my Facebook. There's never too late to do that, So if you've got a dream, chase it, man. Don't be afraid. Don't let fear cripple you. Just do it. Jump off that cliff and figure everything out on the way down. Don't literally jump off a cliff.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah. But that's what I did. And sometimes, start a business ain't for everybody, man, but it was one of the best decisions I ever
Oh, yeah.
for me. For one, it built my self-esteem. For two, it put me in position to do the things that I never was able to in the past.
So
Yeah, man. If you guys got any questions, give me a call. Hit me up on Facebook or whatever. But
so good, man.
thanks for having me on the show, brother.
Yeah, well, that's it for today's episode of the Better Than Best Academy podcast. Again, huge thank you, Jason. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your story. I know it's going to impact and motivate and inspire my audience. I know it inspired me. Before we go to my audience, if you're ready to break free from what's holding you back and step into your God given purpose, don't forget to check out the coaching program. I'll put my link below where we can literally have a one-on-one conversation. And I love you, Fran. I'm praying for you. Now let's go live better than best as we conquer this week.